Hey there, I'm Ryan.
I'm Wilf/Wilf/Wilfred.
And I'm Ive/Ivan/Ifred.
And tonight we review week 1 of Rise and Fall. This is the podcast where we watch reality TV, so you don't have to. Welcome to episode 6 of It's Just a Game.
Woo!
Hello and welcome to episode 6 of It's Just a Game. This is a podcast where we watch reality TV, so you don't have to. Joining me tonight, like every week, is Wilf. Hello, Wilf. How's your week been? What have you been up to?
Eventful. I got to go and watch the Dungeons & Dragons premiere on the red carpet. Very, very cool. Got to meet some childhood stars. Hugh Grant is the best. He's the most miserable person you've ever seen until they give him a mic.
Sorry, did you meet Hugh Grant?
Yeah, it was amazing to meet people that I've never met before.
How about you, Ivan? How have you been?
I've been very busy. I am mostly training for a marathon. I ran 20 miles on Sunday. I ran another 6 this morning. And let me say, if you haven't yet donated to my page, I'm raising money for Samaritans. It's an incredible charity. Helpline people who are under suicide risk or just needing to talk to someone. I know it's the beginning of the podcast and we shouldn't be asking for things right now. But please, if you haven't yet, check out my page, support me, and that would be great. Thank you. Thanks, Ryan, for letting me do that.
And I will be seeing you at the London Marathon. I'll be at one of the medical treatment centres. I've signed up, not to run it.
Can I sign up to be a medical centre? Can I be medic?
I don't want your help.
It'd be like, what do these do?
Guess who's bought a traitor's cloak to run the marathon in?
Oh my God, have you?
Yeah. I know I wasn't a traitor, but I like the idea of just doing it. So I'm going to run it as a traitor.
Now, look, if you're just joining us, this podcast is all about reality games. We're here to analyse strategies, review the funniest moments, and gossip over the most iconic moments of your favourite reality TV shows. Tonight, you may be able to tell by the fact that I'm a ruler and Ivan's a grafter.
Excuse me, I'm a ruler. I've got a crown
Will's got
on.
a crown, mate.
Well, we are rulers and Ivan's a grafter. Tonight, as you can tell, we move on to a brand new series. It's called Rise and Fall, it's on Channel 4, and it's all about power plays. It's by the makers of The Traitors, and we have a lot to say. Now, as always, be warned, we're entering a spoiler zone. If you haven't seen episodes 1 to 6 of Rise and Fall, go away, watch them, it's on all 4, and you can come back when you're done. If you have seen them, stay there, sit down and get ready, because we have opinions. Now, as usual, you know the drill. I'm going to start with one question. It's always the same question. I'm going to have to ask you about the players. Let's start with the hardest question, perhaps. Who is your favourite player? Wilf.
It's so hard because I think Steve and Lambert have done a really good job in terms of creating a good picture and a bad picture with every single person there. So it's been hard to, like, at 1 minute, I loved Ramona. No, I hated Ramona at the beginning. Then I loved her, but you know, like the Scouser woman, what's her name? Cheryl. So I liked Cheryl because she's a Scouser. I'm a fellow Scouser. I grew up there, family from there. I was like, yep, she's a Scouser. Then I hated her because I was like, she's getting too big for a boots. But then I liked her, and my opinions have swayed. But I'd say my favourites and most likely to win is Jack. Jack is happy-go-lucky. He gets people on his side. He makes friends, and I think this game is more about making friends than it is stabbing people in the back. Like, am I when you hear my strategy, then you'll realise it. Between him and I really like Connor. I think him and his little clan have built a brilliant game plan and they're executing it really, really well. As such, but yeah, we'll talk about strategy.
There's disagreement in the room. We'll get to your least favourite player in a second, but Ivan, first, who is your favourite player?
Well, I did like Joanna, but I've just checked out her little bio here, and it says she believes Margaret Thatcher is the perfect example of a leader. So let's call that a quick divorce. I have to say, I do not like reading that she's a big fan of Thatcher, but I think she's playing a good game, keeping under the radar, doing, I think, what is the right thing to do if you're a grafter, which is stay in the basement for as long as possible. I also like Connor. I think James is quite good. They've gone up too early, though, and we know for sure that's just going to mean they're in the spotlight for too long.
You know when you speak to your granddad and you say things that he doesn't really like, and they go, like, that's all I can hear from Ryan. Every time they say, he goes,
It's because, like, I've got different opinions here.
Okay.
Like, favorite player, I'm going to have one normal one and one controversial one. Normal one, Rishika. Rishika was a pure good soul. She went up. She was a good leader. No, she was a good leader. She went up as a leader to help people. She was always thinking of the grafters. She didn't let power get to her head as much as the other leaders did.
no.
And wait, that wasn't the controversial
I'm
one.
sorry. Go on. If you say Sophie, I'm logging off. I'm really sorry. I'm logging off.
No,
I
obviously not.
swear if you say Sophie, I'm logging off.
Well, if I'm a minority. Do you think I'm going to say Sophie?
Yeah.
She
Go on.
hates me. She wants to send me home. No, look, controversial play I really like. Jeff. I know it's controversial. I know he's a prick and sometimes he says the wrong thing. But I thoroughly enjoyed that moment when he went up to the penthouse and told Marina, what life experience do you have? You dropped out of uni after 4 months.
Wait.
I was like, yes.
I feel like he's so desperate to go upstairs, but it's not because of being a leader. It's because he wants to live a better life. Like
He just doesn't like the smell.
I even said it earlier on in the series that I didn't realise it would be like this. If I realised it was, I would come or something like that. And he was like,
Yeah, it's like that guy who left after like what 12 hours.
Ali,
in there.
yeah,
Ali,
Ali disappeared.
Ali,
Ali disappeared. Like, what's that?
I think that what Jeff said to Marina was unacceptable. Now, I don't like Marina at all, right? But I think that kind of comment shows how bad a leader he is and how bad a motivator he is. Now, I don't think uni necessarily gives you any more of a rich life experience than any other experience. If he wants to pick on her age, pick on her age. He didn't pick on her age. He picked on the fact that she dropped out of university.
You've got a good point.
Right, 2 things. It's just a game, first of all, right? And also, I think that this is an elderly gentleman, right, that's living off soup and water, and he's desperate to go up there to just have a better quality of life. That's what I feel as well. That's what I think that he's feeling. And I think he's making these comments because he's just really desperate to go up and be so he can
That's
live
a really good point, yeah.
Like, honestly, that's what I feel. I feel he's making a decision and making comments. We've all made comments that we don't agree with because we've been like, Ivan, I remember you shouted at Tom at one point and you just because of the pressure. And,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
regretted it, yeah.
Well, let's move on to an equally controversial question then. Who is your least favourite player so far?
Everyone.
Right? That's just based on the game.
Right, so we all say it at once. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Sophie.
Ramona.
Oh, you got Ramona.
I do not agree.
No, actually, Sophie, just because I did see Twitter comments that I didn't agree with at all. And also when somebody mentioned Liz Truss, she went, she's not that bad. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, and just for that, that's fair. I mean, I do feel sorry in a way for Sophie because she's a kid who generally does not understand what she's saying and the consequences of that. And she will, I generally believe she will grow up to regret it. Ivan, who's your least favourite contestant then?
Well, okay, so it's just a game, right? Ramona was my least favourite because I couldn't bear how good a manager she thought she was compared to how bad a manager she actually was. But to be honest with you, I think they've put a lot of people in there who will rub each other up the wrong way, and they aren't giving them a lot of chances to be likeable. So it's quite hard to like a lot of people. It's also very easy to hate a lot of people. In the end, they're all giving it a go. But I would say probably people like Ramona I didn't like very much. Jeff I don't like very much. It's obviously hard to like Sophie. There's a lot of other people who I find quite hard to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I've got to agree. My least favourite person I was going to say was Marina, but I think, once again, I kind of do have to give her the same excuse as Sophie, which is that Marina is 18-year-old. She doesn't have a clue what she's saying, and sometimes I don't think she realises what she's doing, and it does make me feel sorry for her. So I'm not going to say Marina as my least favourite. I'm going to go, ironically, for somebody who I thought was my least favourite at the beginning, and I have to say Cheryl, just because Cheryl, in this game, is a definition of a pawn.
Don't do that, mate. No, I'm not having that.
Like, it's the way she is the pawn of every bad strategy. She's the enabler. The bad people would not be winning, but for Cheryl.
Well, it's Channel 4.
It's Channel 4.
It is, isn't it? Isn't it Channel 4?
It really is Channel 4.
It really is Channel 4.
On a scale of 1 to 4, what channel do you reckon it is?
Channel 4.
4. For me, it's a healthy 4 at this stage.
Wait, I knew reoccurring segment of Ivan.
On a scale of 1 to 4? Is that it? Is that?
Yeah,
is it?
yeah,
That's
that's it.
Which channel is that?
which channel?
Channel 4.
It should be on a scale of 1 to 5 because channel 5 is its own thing, isn't it?
Mate, can I tell you one about the best show that's ever lived, never got commissioned again?
Yeah.
They buy a house. I'm not going to say what channel or what production company. So they buy a house in the middle of nowhere, a massive house, a big mansion. Then they have different families live there for different weeks. And then, in the end, the locals have to say what family they want to move in. And then the family that get the most votes for the family get to actually have the house.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 5? On a scale of channel 1 to 5? That's 5.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
It's not like 4.
No,
It's
I'm not
5,
doing
isn't
it.
it? It's
I'm not
5.
doing it. I'm not doing it.
What's brilliant about this show is that it's obviously a massive strategic show, and that's why I love it. Ivan, how do you win this game?
Okay, right. So mathematically, there is a way to block out any possibility of anyone who isn't you at least making the final. The difficulty with this show is we don't know how it ends. As you said, Will, that's annoying because it means you can't account for it. However, all you need is 4 people in an alliance in the rulers, and you literally cannot be unseated until they change the rules of the game. So, with 4 people, you break every deadlock. You vote out the person who came up before last. So there's 4 of us. We vote out the person who's 5th. Then 2 days later, we vote out 6. Then 2 days later, we vote out 5. 6, 5, 6, 5, all the way to the end of the game. It's that simple, right? Mathematically, you just block it out. What they have to do then, of course, is do a big stupid twist, which they're going to do anyway at some point, which means that talking any strategy right now is obviously completely meaningless. But you have
My
to admit,
concern with that,
yeah,
it's like, that makes sense mathematically, that's what I was thinking. But if you think about it, people in that sort of environment, they panic. Eventually, people just break the alliance way too early.
we have seen that. So obviously the question would be how you keep the alliance. And obviously, having watched enough Survivor, you know that alliances don't last that long. And all it needs is to change one and you've lost the majority. The problem with this game is that as soon as you lose the majority, the new player gets the say. So pretty much every time it's 3-on-3 or 2-on-2, the current ruling majority is broken. And that's always gonna break the ruling majority because the person new, it normally likes the people who are also newer and who've been grafters. So while it doesn't necessarily work in terms of how you keep it going, if you can get 4 people up there who all understand, as long as they keep the majority, they make the final. That's literally it, right? You may not win because you won't be popular by that point, but
Just a question for you, Ivan. Does this mean that you cannot win the game if you started the game as a leader on the first day?
I believe that you have to start as a grafter. Of course, if they were really, really clever and they got in there, then what they should have done on the first night is gone, right, 4 of us, okay, forget Ramona and Cheryl, the other 4 of us, we can stay in the penthouse until the final day of the game if we just do this. They didn't think of it fast enough, they didn't stick to it fast enough, and they lost it.
You know, if you become a ruler at the beginning, right, you could either be really outspoken, like Ramona, you get deleted, and then you... Or then you become Rashika or Rachel or one of them who's sort of the bottom end, right? And then when that...
The guy that always wants to give you a bit of feedback.
Yeah.
Feedback,
Can I just say, that's the most disrespectful person that I've ever seen. And I don't know if he does it to everyone. He stops people halfway through their speech. He goes, like, imagine I stopped you, Ivan, and go, do you know what, Ivan? Yeah. You talk quite a lot, don't you? And you no, I don't. I just don't
Sorry,
agree with it.
Wolf, sorry. Can I give you a bit of feedback first?
Shut up. Yeah, but you know what I mean?
Wait, Ivan, can I give you a bit of feedback?
I'd love that, man, yeah.
When you're a ruler, I believe that if you're too loud or too quiet, you're getting deleted. And I think if you're in the middle, which he is, so he's received no votes and he's doing his little tactical thing, people are going to notice, because don't forget, all of the people from the bottom are going to come up. They already see that he's playing the middle game. So then you're going to get deleted anyway. So I agree with what Ivan's saying. You cannot start as a ruler. But with 6 people, you can't be at the top because you're a threat. Can't be at the bottom because you're not contributing. And you're in the middle, people will come up and they'll delete you because you're just in the middle. So I agree with Ivan.
And I think really you can't stay up on it as a ruler for too long, or you'll just be unpopular. So really, if you want to win, you have to stay a grafter for as long as possible. What I was saying was you're going to be unpopular, but if you want to block it out, break the game, and basically make sure you survive to the last episode, you can just do that through maths. Everyone will hate you, but you can do it. But I think we can all agree, and Will, I want to hear yours, and Ryan, I want to hear your strategy. I think we can all agree, if you want to win the game, you should be a grafter right now.
Wilf, in that case, let's ask you, how do you win this game? Other than befriend and betray.
So no befriend or betray. Well, obviously you're gonna have to betray to win the money at some point, but
And you're going to have to befriend, really, so...
you have to build relationships, right? And we've looked at because the only place you can get voted off is being a ruler, and that's a toxic environment, right? So you'll notice that all the relationships that have actually been bonded are downstairs in the basement. So the longer you're in the basement, the more you can bond with people.
Yes.
And the longer you can bond with people before they go up, because everybody's gonna. Well, from what I see at the moment, with the amount of people that keep entering the game, yeah, that's like, no, they're gonna.
Guys,
they're
look,
gonna.
everybody, take a ticket, stay in line. You'll all get your opportunity
It's
to
jokes.
join the basement on Rise
Do you
and
know what I mean?
Fall.
It's like the Queen's queue, isn't it? It's millions of people queuing up on the South Bank.
It's like jury duty. Everyone will get a letter in the post calling them to join the basement.
But anyway, so
Right.
theory is, the longer you're down in the basement, you never know how many people are going to be in there. So the best thing is to create as much relationships as you can, as many relationships, sorry. And when they go up, they're always going to have a positive thing for you to say. And you don't seem hungry to the guys at the bottom, but then you get to a point where you're like, okay, I've built many good relationships, and I feel like we've been here for a long time, and the game could end. Like, you must get that feeling, like, do you know what I mean? Maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks into the game, you think, okay, it's coming to an end soon. Maybe I should be at the top. And you build good relationships quickly, and then you go up there and then betray everyone, and then well, I don't know how the game ends. I don't know how the game ends.
I'd like to do this, guys, because we've all got good game minds on us. So if I may hijack the podcast for my new recurring segment,
Go on.
How do you think it ends? Here's the theme tune. How do you think it ends? So that was the theme tune, and here's the game. How do you think it ends? Anyone have any theories? Yeah.
Yes. So I think the way they're planting people in there is ridiculous. What they're going to do is they're going to have 6 people up there, and they'll still have a full crowd downstairs, and they'll tell people in 2 days the game ends, or 3 days the game ends.
Yeah.
And they're all going to beg to go up there and fight to go up there. Because what they're doing is there's too much of a sense of harmony between the basement, and that's obviously going to be disrupted at some point, to the point where they're going to split.
Okay, Ivan, how does it end?
Okay, I reckon, as Will says, that they will know, like, oh, this is the last Rise vote. So that's going to be fun and exciting. But I do think there's going to be a big major, like, oh, 3 of you can replace 3, or even, like, some way of, like, you can earn a number of final replacements. So the big Rise is quite a large one towards the end. I then think the grafters are going to choose the eventual winner. And that'll be interesting, because it's like, oh, how well did you treat your grafters? Who's going to give you, who are you going to give the money? There could even be a choice of, like, do you want to split it amongst a few different rulers or whatever? But I think probably that's going to happen, in which case you want to be as late promoted as you can. I think the person who rises last might win the entire game. You rise, 2 days later you win the entire thing, if the grafters vote.
But because they keep adding people, you never know when last is. Does that make sense?
I think I've got it. I think I've nailed it. The last Rise vote, all the grafters think they're voting, and then they give you the shock. Actually, this time, the rulers decide who to rise. And the rulers are like, yeah, we've got all the power. And then the double shock, but this time, the grafters choose who wins the game. So they switch roles. Normally, the grafters choose who rises, the rulers choose who goes home. In the last case, in both, the rulers choose who rises, and the grafters choose who wins the game. That's what I reckon. Ryan, let's hear it. How's it going to end?
I reckon it's pretty close to what you've said, Ivan. The idea in this game is that the rulers have all the power. They make every key decision. But I think it ends in a twist where, like, well, actually, because this game mimics real life, they're going to say, well, look, in real life, the rules have a lot of the power. But every 5 years, they get their say. They get to decide who actually wins. Boom, general election.
Fucking sick.
Labour wins. And Labour is not Marina.
Or Sophie.
Or Sophie. No, look,
Sophie.
the way I think it ends is, it ends in the sort of general election where everyone actually gets to vote for the ultimate winner. And if it ends this way, maybe it doesn't even have to be that the ultimate winner is a ruler. It could be that, like, they decide that whoever wins automatically becomes a ruler and wins. I don't know.
That's the only rule they've said. That's the only thing you know about the ending, is that only a ruler can win. If they renege on that, I'm like, what's the point of even...
Nothing prevents you from climbing, becoming a ruler, and winning the game about 25 seconds later. You know, as long as it takes you to do a trip on that obviously fake lift.
Yeah, sometimes the lights go sideways.
Right, I need toilet.
We can talk about... Oh, God. Oh, yeah, he's got AirPods, so we can hear all of
Oh
this.
my God, he's having a little wee-wee. Has he done this before?
No, because he's never done, like, Bluetooth.
Who did this before? I feel like someone did this before and we could hear them having a wee. Oh, it was someone on my D&D
Well, it's probably
group.
me. I usually do that.
Will, can you hear us, mate?
Yeah, I can. Make a wee the door.
Put this on the podcast, Ryan! Will's having a little willy time. What colour is it, Will? Did you... Hang on. Show us your hands, mate.
Yeah, I haven't heard you wash your hands.
Did you wash your hands?
I've heard you wee, but I
Yeah,
haven't heard you
of
wash
course
your
I did.
hands.
It's alright, as long as your willy's clean, it doesn't...
We'll check the recording. I mean, look, listeners will have the full recording. You can judge and decide, did Wilf wash his hands? You tell us in the comments.
That's time for my new recurring segment.
Okay, let's get back to it. Can we talk about that lift then? Because that is the most obviously fake lift I have ever seen.
Do you remember Blue Player? It's like, you can make the best tinfoil lift. It's like back to the apprentice, making a lift in an hour and sell it. To ride the pool.
It will have a voice.
To be clear, Stephen, if I can call you this, Stephen Lambert, if you're listening, just know I still love you, Daddy. But I still want to be on Ryzen 4 Series 2, but the lift is clearly fake.
Ryan, what I really want to know, what the public deserves to know, is what the hell is your strategy? How do you win this game?
Look, everyone knows I've got great experience at winning Studio Lambert games on television. Oh, never mind. Well, that's it for me. Thank you. No, look. My strategy if I'm in this game is quite similar to Wilf. I think he has got this right. It's simply befriend and betray.
Come on!
It is. No, but look, realistically, let me explain. So, like, it is realistically befriend. You've got to start the game befriending people, and I think you're right. You've got to suffer to win this game. You've got to start the game in the basement, and you've got to stay for at least a good 2 weeks. You want to be among the last people to rise up. So while in the basement, you want to befriend everyone. You want to keep making friends. You want to be inevitably in the basement, like, alliances are going to form. You want to be in the strongest alliance, but it can't be an alliance that is too big, because if it's too big, chances are you're not going to go up. So you've got to be in the right alliance, and you're going to be able to move alliances.
But when you're up there, when you're a ruler, you need a majority of 3, like.
Yeah, so what I mean is you want to be in that. You want to be in a strong strategy. You want to befriend, and then when you go up as a ruler, you want to be as a ruler for no more than a few days for starters, because otherwise the grafters start resenting you. And when you're up there, you want to be making friends, being with the right strategy. And I think the way I would approach it is just go to people and have straight up conversations where I tell them, hey, look, mate, let's be honest, you need a strategy to win this game. Here's what I'm offering. Join my alliance. These two will clearly backstab you. I'm willing to work with you, and then we can figure out what happens at the final. That's a lie, but I do not care.
From our experience, we're all normalish people. No one went there for like no one tried to create alliances. Maybe that was our problem.
No, alliances did create themselves. We just didn't call them alliances. Let's not pretend there were no alliances on the traitors. They were subgroups.
No, yeah, subgroups. But at the same time,
which is just a different name for an alliance.
Yeah, but you build an alliance when there's 6 people, bro. is different from 22 people. I don't care what you say. Like,
Yeah, you got to find that right middle point, and it's easier said than done, obviously. But in that case, let's actually talk about the strategies we have seen in the game. There's roughly, I don't know, Ivan, would you say 3 rough strategies, 3 rough alliances in there?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there is a quiet alliance too, which we're not seeing, of people who don't want to get promoted. And so, but yes, in terms of major alliances, we've seen the Rashika, Rachel, Prince, and for some time Matt alliance. Now we are seeing the fairly powerful, currently, although I don't think for very long, alliance between Marina, Connor, James, and weirdly Cheryl has kind of found herself on that alliance without, I think, intending
Cheryl's
to.
more of like an unwilling passenger along for the ride.
And then we have the absolutely balmy combination of Sophie Corker and Jeff from Channel 4's Four Rooms and Moses, which is just so odd because they sit in this room. It's like, Moses, I've got a problem with my neck. Come and touch me while we talk. And then they just go to the kitchen and have a chat. And Jack waddles out like, all right, how was your chat? It's so awkward. Oh
It's
my
the
God.
most rogue alliance. None of them are a match.
the thing is, with that group, what makes me laugh is like Sophie's sitting there with Jet, yeah, and Moses, right? And she goes, yeah, we better be quick because it's suspicious. And I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's just not suspicious.
For all you know, you're talking about the fucking bread recipe.
I never, do you know what I mean? Like, we better be quick. And I'm like, I was cracking up like, this girl was like, yeah, I don't know.
Not as suspicious as I've got a headache, come and give me a neck massage.
Yeah, but like also said with a really suspicious tone. He didn't just go there and say, hey, I've got a headache, can you give me a head massage? He was like, oh, hello there, friend. I have a headache. Can you give me a head massage? Wink, wink.
My favourite part of the whole show so far, right? My favourite part, you know what I say favourite a billion times, right? Is when they have to ask the rulers what's up. They went up there to the rulers and were like, can we have butter? Can we have this cheese? Can we have passata? And they said no to the cheese and passata. They're angry. We've already gave someone butter.
But also, I'm sorry, the guy came down saying didn't get my passata. I can make 10 pizzas with passata. No, you can't. That's not how pizzas work. You can't make 10 pizzas with a jar of passata. You can make one.
You just rub a little bit of sauce on the pizza.
Show the bread the jar of passata. It's like, here you go. Remember that.
But you know what? That's why part of my strategy in the game would be that I would never refuse any grafter request, because there would still be enough money left in the prize pot. Let's be honest. They would just add some extra money at the end anyway.
Fine, I'll give you 100 grand in the last episode anyway, bro.
I'll give it anyway. They'll be like, now for this next challenge, you must breathe. If you do breathe successfully, for 2 breaths, you get £100,000.
But I've got a question for you both. I know Ryan's leader, but I'm going to ask you a question. Would you gift all of the grafters every time?
Well,
Yeah,
as long as the price is like 100 quid a pop. If it starts being thousands, then hell no. But then again, if you want to stay popular, you give it all away anyway, because in the end, what's the money worth if you can't win it?
exactly. At the end of the day, I'd rather win £15,000 than win nothing.
What you need to do is give a whole if so if there's £100 a plate of food, you give them 4 at the beginning, and as time goes on, you give them a third. Time goes on, you give them a half. Do you know what I mean? Like, you do it.
Yeah, that's dangerous, because the problem is that, like, eventually in the game, in 3 weeks' time, there's going to be at least 162 people in the basement, and that starts adding up in terms of money as they throw in more players.
Can I tell you what pisses me off so much in this game? The leaders are packing each other's backs into suitcases. No, they're patting each other's backs all the time, saying like, I did such a good job today. Oh, you did so amazingly. No, they're not. They're pressing buttons and occasionally saying one name. The leaders are doing nothing. And they're so like, I'm a great leader. You know what I did the other day? I had such faith in them. I won that money, not you. I won that money. It's like, no, you didn't, mate. The guy who had his head.
That's why it's such a brilliant reflection of reality. The leaders do fuck all.
It's the guy who took double-handed and scooped up dog food and Like, I hated that.
He's the one.
You all you did was
Meanwhile,
respect. And this what pisses me off, because it's so in tune with, it's like a message to society, but at the same
It's
time,
real life.
of course. But like when you think about like the rulers, I feel like the power is so, I don't understand how the power gets to them so much.
So quickly.
So quickly.
It really
So
does.
quickly. And it really does.
mad.
When I see Marina got there, I thought, sure, she'll be alright. She went there, she was like, I don't know, but her demeanour was, I'm better than you. And I was like,
I know.
I don't understand that. Yeah.
So would you, I guess to summarise, Will, would you say that Marina's demeanour got meaner?
Honestly, I'm not keener.
Bit of feedback, Will. Could you...
Yeah, sorry, Wilf, Ivan, I'm just going to give you a bit of feedback here, but no poetry in this
Oh,
podcast
guys.
ever fucking again.
That's not poetry. That's spitting bars. That's actually what us rappers call spitting bars.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm going to spit bars in your mouth in a second if you don't stop.
Ooh. Careful, mate. Maybe I'm into that.
I guess one other big thing, obviously, in this game is that, once again, they come up with the weirdest challenges. They call them work shifts. They just decide to electrocute random people on the first day. What have you thought of all these challenges so far, Ivan?
I think it's fun. I think they're good. I mean, they're like obviously dressed up as like, we're being hit with a very heavy-handed frying pan right now of kind of like, this is what it's like to be in different classes in society. So obviously you're going for, it's kind of manual labour. I'm scared of it slightly demeaning what manual labour is, because being an electrician and working on high voltage things, you don't get electrocuted pretty much. You're an expert at not getting electrocuted. And similarly,
But eating dog food made by dogs, like apparently. And a bit of an apprentice thing there. Sorry, I'm
this
sorry.
one was made by dogs. But yeah, no, I just worry that it's slightly demeaning to people who are actually in. Like,
So I'm not sure how much manual labour that is, so I've just realised, yes, they did electricity, but then the next day they did lost and found, and the next day they just ate dog food.
I swear, like,
That's
they were
amazing.
supposed to be.
There's no job that involves eating dog food, to be clear.
They're not working all day. They're there for for the task where they search for the metronome. They're in there for about 15 seconds. It's not exactly a work shift, is it? I thought the work shift would be like, okay, you're just literally going to go mining now, right? Oh, take the lift downstairs. You thought this was the bottom floor? No, the floor below this is literally a coal mine. Get there and get us 100 weight of coal before you can come back up again.
Wilf, what's your take on the challenges?
My stake on the challenge is different to Ivan. So
How dare you?
yeah, I'm sorry, babe. I feel like
Just a little bit of feedback. You can't have different opinions from us.
shit.
Just-
All right.
Because mine's correct, so it's weird that you even disagree when you know that what mine is correct.
Yeah. No, honestly, I feel like what Ivan says is right, but at the same time, there are
Thank you.
jobs that are so down for people that we as human beings. So you know that in dog food, right? So you know that humans have to test dog food before it's sent out.
Wait, what?
That's interesting.
Yeah, so humans have to eat dog food before we can give it to animals. So any animal food, apparently, I don't know if it's 100% true, but most animal foods that you give to animals.
I think that's just what they told you to make you eat dog food. That was
No,
a
no,
lie.
no. Genuine. So we say grafters, like, that's a hard task. The electrician thing is, for me, is the part of holding things was shit. But the one trying to find the metronome was just a bit of fun, I think.
Let's be honest, they probably spend more time filming them walking into that room than actually doing the mission.
I feel sorry for the person who sourced all those things, like spent 15 years of their life looking in all the charity shops for the nice, cool second-hand
Yeah,
items.
and they were like, can we do a second challenge with this?
Yeah. You want me to? I didn't keep all the receipts. No. What do you mean? I got to give them all back?
Okay, now it's time for you guys to give me a bit of feedback on Rise and Fall. I need to know, what are you expecting for the next week? What are you hoping is going to happen in the next few episodes?
I think that any alliances that currently exist will slowly dissolve, and I do feel like what we're going to see is a very, very steady replacement of those in the top, in the rulers. I don't think there's going to be anyone who lasts in the rulers for longer than about 2 weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of them did. I think, you might see maybe Cheryl weirdly surviving for a few more days, Marina surviving for a few more days, but I think overall we're going to see just a replacement person by person at the top, and no particular acceleration towards the end until the final week. I think it's gonna start to spin its wheels very, very quickly. Will?
I think the harmony between the grafters is going to be unsettled massively, to the sense where they're going to divide because there's such a unity there, and we've already sort of seen a divide naturally. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I think we're expecting a big mess for the next week. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna expect fires to start burning in the basement, just because you can tell that there's 2 alliances forming in the basement, and I think there will be a clash sometime in the near future. I think up there the alliance will break down as well, because people will be too keen to backstab each other too early. But yeah, so far it's been pretty good. I would say solid 8 out of 10. What about you guys?
Ooh, interesting. I'm gonna go 6, rising 7. It could even reach an 8.
It could rise, it could fall.
Wilfie?
I'd say 6.5. The cast have to make it now. I think the format is a 6.57, but the cast have to make the rest of it.
No, but look, at the end of the day, I actually think the casting is the issue really with that show, because the concept is brilliant, and as far as I'm concerned, it's even better than The Traitors. Controversial, I know.
Yeah, you've changed,
I'll
mate.
leave you on a controversial note. We will be discussing that and so much more next week when we're back next Sunday to discuss this week's episodes of Rise and Fall. Yeah. If you liked us, you know the drill. Don't forget, if you're watching the podcast on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're listening to it, give us 5 stars, give us a little review, and follow us on social media at itsjustagame.podcast on TikTok and Instagram. But until next week, thank you so much for tuning in. I am Ryan. You can follow me at the Gram of Ryan on Instagram.
I am Will. You can follow me at Wilfred Webster Official on Instagram.
I'm Ivan. Step outside your front door, scream my name as loudly as you can. Maybe I'll come running. Who knows? Give it a try. See what happens.
And from all of us here, it's see you next week and goodbye.
Bye.